Sup, everyone. So today, we have to do something at the request, actually, of a viewer because, it's very rare people reach out to me through email, but when they do, it usually takes me a bit of time to get to that particular email. And in this case, I was late to the email. And they actually linked me a video, which they actually wrote a lengthy comment here for me to react to this video. And because of how detailed it was and how they've introduced themselves and stuff, I just felt really bad if I don't have the chance to give them the time of day. One moment here. Oh, I see. It's nice to see my camera frozen already. Look at it. Oh, what a great way to start. Okay, let's see if we could fix that. There we go. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I do feel bad if I don't have the opportunity to respond, as I take a lot of pride in being able to give you guys all the time of day as long as you send me a message through email or Discord. Usually I respond faster through Discord because my email is reserved more for business, but I've had people reach out to me through email. For the most part, they're usually a little more lengthy and request some sort of more personal kind of content. So the video in question is Genshin Impact is too popular. Actually, you know what? Let's see if I can crop this for you guys. I don't want to show the person's email because I don't want to dox them. But I'll show you guys this. Here, let me take a screenshot and maybe I'll show you guys through Paint. Can I do this? Bro, I swear it shouldn't be this difficult. You know what? I'll just read it for you guys. So the message goes like this. Hi, been following your YouTube channel for quite some time now. Immediately got hooked on your 9-hour live stream with Lay 7 Flow and many others. And I've always been looking forward to your live streams since. I rarely comment and more of a lurker. Your 2-hour live stream regarding the endgame fiasco was engaging as always. Listen, chat. I'm not out here stroking my own ego, okay? I swear, this is a legitimate... Now that I read it, it sounds like I'm kind of... Okay. So basically, he says he enjoys the discussions we have here. Okay, here it is. However, there is a question I've been meaning to ask you regarding a certain YouTuber's theory, specifically Bench Gamer. So I know Bench Gamer. He actually comments on my videos here and there, and I believe sometimes we've even had him in our live chat. I'm actually curious, Bench, are you here today? Bench, unfortunately not. He's not here today, but that's okay. We'll still respond to the video. So then they link the video here, and then it says, above is the link. In case it doesn't appear for some reason, the title of the video, Genshin Impact is too popular. At around minute 6, I think, he theorized about MiHoYo is actually trying to slowly drive or push away content creators and players who are more combat oriented because it hurts their business model. Get that, people. And I thought I was the one out here coming up with crazy Hoyoverse scandals. But no, this actually sounds like something I would actually come up with. But it's very interesting. I want to hear more about this. And I don't know if you guys are interested, but this is some juicy conspiracy. Like, imagine if it turns out to be right? Yeah, Bench has been in stream for sure. I recognize Bench Gamer's name. I've known him for a while now. Not personally, but I've known him. And this is the first time I've even heard of him making videos. So this is news to me. Wish maybe we can have him on a podcast in the future. So this particular theory peaked and got me thinking. Creators like Tenten are already advising players to skip units even before their release. Again, like how Tenten's latest video advises player to skip Nilu, which is an upcoming unit. Tenten is selling his channel as a value for the buck kind of channel, where he analyzes a unit and informs his audience about said unit. TLDR, if unit is bad, don't pull, which doesn't align with miHoYo's business practice where they want players to pull, be it units or weapons, right? Another thing that harms the game is how older and some domains are rendered obsolete because of what the creators are advising the players, i.e. Xiao's domain where the artifact set only benefits a few units like gladiator sets. This just makes resources a waste on the production side. miHoYo would want people to blindly play the game as much as possible so they can keep them around longer. The longer the players play the game, the higher the chance they buy something in-game, be it Welkin, BP, or straight up Genesis crystals. But this won't work if players are playing efficiently and carefully. Thus, theory crafters in a way are not helping the business in the long run. So I really do look forward to your replies, because to be absolutely blunt, you Walrus are the only... Okay, alright, I'm not gonna read the last bit here for you guys. Kind of making me blush a little bit, alright? I'm not here stroking myself. I'll just leave that for myself. I'll just leave that last bit for myself to read. I'll have that as a screenshot on my phone, and I'll read it every night before I go to bed. Anyways, so yeah, that's basically what I told you guys. It was a lengthy one. So that was the person who reached out, and today we are going to react to the video. And what I did respond to him was, I'm going to be purely honest because I have not watched the video. Yes, he did send this to me 3 days ago. I have not watched the video, so we're going to be doing a raw reaction today. Now, the video is actually quite lengthy. It's 24 minutes long. So I cannot guarantee you guys I'm not going to pause. Like I've said with Soul before, that I will try going forward to not pause as much when I react to videos, because I don't want to end up responding, giving input, and then having the person say the exact same thing I said. So in a way, that's kind of a waste of everybody's time, right? So in this video, it's a 24-minute long video. I'm gonna stop here and there after I guess once bits and pieces of information have been gathered, and I find it very difficult that the entire 24 minutes is covering one topic. I'm sure there's gonna be bits and pieces throughout. Okay, so stick with me. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Genshin Impact is too popular is the name of the video, so we're gonna go in like this. This is the video here. And we're gonna make a video off of Bench's video, because at this point, reaction content is just too juicy not to dip my little toes in. So as usual, we're gonna be starting to record now, and let's see what Bench has to say. Let's just get the audio all set up so I know going in.
So in the recent interview between GameSpot and miHoYo, miHoYo basically came out and said that they're not interested in...
Okay, perfect. That audio is good. Everybody heard that clear? Was that loud enough for you guys? Loud and clear? 1 in the chat. Press 1 in the chat if that was loud enough. Ian says volume too low. So louder. Okay, not loud. So press 1 if you can hear. Press 2 if you can't. I see some 2s, so I'm gonna see if I could adjust that just a little bit.
Yo, this is Bench Gamer here. So in the recent interview between GameSpot and miHoYo,
Better?
miHoYo basically came out and said that they're not interested in doing any endgame combat related content for Genshin Impact in the future. So besides Spiral Abyss, which is the only piece of endgame combat content.
Okay. So now I need to make sure everybody can hear, because if people can't hear, what the oh, there's still 2. Okay. Maybe we can bring it up to just...
Yo, this is Bench Gamer here. So in the recent interview between GameSpot and miHoYo, miHoYo basically came out and said that they're not interested in doing any endgame combat related content.
Okay. We're good here. Maybe I'll keep myself up here. So for people who really struggle to understand exactly what he's saying, there's the captions down here. I know they're not fully accurate sometimes, but it is what it is. All right, we're gonna get. Actually, maybe can I put myself? Okay, chat. Should I put myself at the top left or bottom right? Because I don't think
for Genshin Impact. Who does Spiral Abyss and who doesn't?
Yeah, I don't think this blocks it either. I'll stick to bottom right, okay? Daryl Walker, thank you for the 5. Says, except for costumes and the paid BPT part, aren't all my combat related?
Damn, that's hot. Except for costumes and the paid BP's teapot item, aren't all monetizations combat related?
Well, yeah, okay. If we think about it that way, yeah, you are right. Because even what's the resin, right? Even when you're buying resin, you are essentially buying combat. Like you're buying combat exchanges, essentially, right? You do combat with resin for rewards. So I guess you're right. There's more to this than just on the surface, though. So I want to touch on this a little bit as well before we start. The reason why all monetization is combat related is because the game centers around its characters. And now here is the conundrum, right? Like people would often just get stuck here, be like, then why is there no more content revolving around combat? But if you look at the game, it's pretty much all combat. It's pretty like we got fishing, we got the teapot. Apart from these two pieces of content, the game is mostly combat. Even like exploration, you kind of can't get away with combat. I mean, you cannot get away with no combat while you're exploring. Combat seems to be like mixed in with everything. However, at the same time, combat isn't the end all be all of everything. Does that make sense? While combat is kind of intertwined with all the other content, it itself does not stand alone as a single piece of content. And I also understand when people say, well, we want more combat content, end game combat content. We basically are saying we want a reason to grind. We want to put all this resource that we put into our characters to use, or at least challenge the efforts we've put into our characters. Right? Does that make sense? I understand that, okay? It's not like I don't. Debanya Mandal, thank you for becoming a Bronze Test member. Welcome back to the fold here. Thank you so much for supporting with membership as usual. So, it's not like I don't understand, right? And people seem to get stuck here. But you guys have to understand one thing as well, is that, have you guys noticed very difficult end game combat-based events have gotten rarer and rarer? Have you guys realized that? Like, this isn't just me talking out of my ass. Like, Huangle, hey, I guess Christmas is coming early here. Yo, thank you so much, Huangle. So we got M3J, welcome to the Tusk Gang. Over 9,000, welcome to the Tusk Gang. Golden Ambrosia, welcome to Tusk Gang. Booster, welcome to Tusk Gang. Roselle, welcome to the Tusk Gang. Thank you so much. Yo, spam those emotes while you can. Spam them. Okay, so back to what we were talking about, right? Have you guys noticed that we've gotten the end game events less, like the end game combat events less and less? Have you guys noticed that? Juan has finally made it to stream. Finally done with my degree. I wish I had one of those things that I can just like pop for you. Thank you so much, Huang Lei, and welcome back. It's a nice feeling, isn't it? But this feeling for me was very short lasted. But we have to enjoy it while it lasts. So basically, what I wanted to say is, if you guys have noticed in recent months, I mean, almost a year now, like the really hard-ish endgame events revolving around combat hasn't really been around anymore. So Techie the Virus says, yes, it's because they are catering to new players and a casual subset of those. They want to keep those players around more. Yeah, but it's also because that every time those events have ran, I don't think many people are actually playing them, or at least they're not actually finishing them. And when Hoyoverse sees those kind of stats, I think it's safe to assume they are catering events and content around statistics. So if people aren't even giving these events the time of day, what reason does Hoyoverse have to devote the resources for permanent content of similar types, right? Because when we think about permanent content, it's permanent in many ways, but it's also ongoing because they have to devote devs to constantly update these contents with new rosters of characters, like new rosters of monsters, and sometimes buffs, debuffs, whatnot, right? It's just hard to see a world where Genshin will ever go in a direction that the more combat savvy people want it. What we currently have right now is already, I think, for the most part, what most people are willing to deal with. They should be catering on the people who pays for the game. It's understandable, but usually those people do combat and wants a challenge. But there's a lot of casual people. I covered this in my last live stream and in some videos. Is that I think people here have a misconception in that only the whales who are hardcore and super like min-maxi will pay an exorbitant amount of money for this game. But well, I don't deny that there's definitely people like that who want the power, who want to flex, who want the, I don't know, for whatever reason, want to get C6, R5 every character. But there's also equally wealthy players who are more on the casual side. So, for example, take me for example. I'm not hardcore. Okay, I play the game very loosely, and in fact, I oftentimes skip the events and pay to get primo gems because I don't want to play the events. So think about it like this. It's kind of backwards, okay? I'm sorry for the people who are waiting for the video. We will get to it, I promise. I just want to get this point past first. Think about it like this. It's kind of backwards. What if Hoyoverse? This is another conspiracy. I'm still working on this conspiracy, but I'll let you guys hear it first, okay? Think about it like this. What if Hoyoverse designs the events to be more mundane and grindy so that the people who have the money can choose to skip the events and just pay for primo gems down the line? But if they make the events, every event, super fun and engaging for everybody, then, you know, they will get less money from people like me, because I literally get almost no primo gems from events. Because I don't play the events. I don't play the vast majority of events. I play like one event every 4 patches because that event is really fun and I love that, like one event. But for the most part, these events are very mundane, like mixing spices and making tea stuff. Like, I'm not very interested in that. Okay, I play 5-6 different games at the same time. I'm good, and I have like 2-3 hours of free time a day, people. I'm gonna spend my time on things that I really want to play. I'm not gonna sit here, mix some spices for like 30 minutes out of the 2 hours I have to play just to get like 200 primo gems. I'm not gonna do that. And I'd assume a lot of other people who work like 8-10 hour shifts are not going to want to come home and do that. So here's the big brain from Hoyoverse is they do this on purpose so that they can sell people like me primo gems when characters we want pop up. And I just go around collecting C0s. But what if somebody like me, let's say somebody who works in Silicon Valley, who makes like 200 something thousand dollars a year, they can see 6R5 every character. They're not going to have the time to play all the events and grind through all the mundane stuff. They'll just buy the primo gems. Right? So if you guys think about it like this, is it not a genius move by HoYoverse? I know this might be a bit of a stretch, but I'm just telling you guys, not all whales and giga whales enjoys every aspect of the game, and not all whales and giga whales are here for the combat endgame. A lot of these players, myself included, enough combat is good. We've all decided to treat Genshin as a side game, and if we have expendable cash to dump into the game, so be it, right? I'm not going to waste money, let's say, for things that I don't enjoy. Nobody enjoys everything in the game. Exactly. Like, it's unreasonable to ask somebody to enjoy every aspect of Genshin or quit. Right? Like, that's just being unreasonable. That's childish, in my opinion. It's like, oh, if you don't like one thing about this game, then you should just quit. And you're toxic, right? I can enjoy, I'd say, 30% of a game and still have fun playing it, because I'll only play that 30%. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Genshin is almost the perfect side game. Almost. They just need an AFK button. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Relax. Jeez. Anyways, let's get to the video. I know a lot of people here are waiting for the video. Okay, so this is the video by Bench Gamer. All right, so Genshin Impact is too popular. We're gonna start recording. Anyways, sup everyone, welcome back to another video. As you guys can see, we're here live on stream. Actually, you guys can't see that because I've turned chat off, because you never know, some people in chat are kind of wild. And here we have Zach.
Sussy Zach just applied wet status. Damn, that's hot. It just feels lazy for a billion-dollar company to say it causes anxiety instead of thinking of solutions. They are ignoring a part of the community.
You're absolutely right, Zach. I never said it was right. It just makes sense from a business perspective. Okay? I never said it was right. I think a lot of people get this wrong about me and the things that I say in my videos. I never once said what HoYoverse is doing here is the right thing to do. It's very selfish, and to be honest, like, it's kind of disgusting how much corporate greed HoYoverse has going on here. But if you guys think about it from HoYoverse perspective, let's just not, because it's easy to judge people from our perspective. But if you see this from like a purely third person perspective, you would say, well, HoYoverse is actually pretty smart in how they deal with this situation, right? So again, never said it's right for them to treat a portion of the community this way, but at the same time, you cannot fully please everybody. I think this is something most people learn very early in their life. You just cannot please everyone. You can go find the most likable person in the whole wide world. There's gonna be somebody who says, I hate that person. Like, it'll never be 100% for anything. Like, the world just wasn't designed that way. So it's either this community gets cut, or that community gets cut, or that community gets cut. It's someone's going to get cut. Okay? It's just that right now, it's the combat oriented players. Again, it's not right, but it is what it is. Darth Kun said, I don't understand why Mihoyo treats Honkai players much better than Genshin Impact players. Same company, different attitude, another game. Well, they have different player bases as well. They have people like HoYoverse designs games with intention prior to release. Genshin Impact was designed to be a side game, right? We've said this many times. This is in news. This shouldn't surprise anybody. Genshin was designed as a side game, and this was envisioned before its release. It's not like midway in patch 2.3, suddenly HoYoverse was like, you know what? Let's make Genshin Impact a side game. No. Genshin Impact was designed to be a side game. Honkai Impact likely was designed to be something that people can sink more time into, right? The game was not designed as a side game. That is cap. The game was absolutely designed as a side game. From its inception, day one, you can tell they had no intentions of ever taking this game to anything more than just 30 minutes. Like every change they've ever made in this game, every adjustment, every bit of content added to the game has only pushed the game more and more to be a side game. So how can you tell me this was not designed as a side game? Like how? There wasn't a single change, like point to one change they've done in the last 2 years that even remotely hints at them wanting this game to be more grindy, to take up more of your time, to like nothing. SJ Malice M says they could easily make temporary combat events. They have. They've made many in the past. Nobody played them. Or so few people played them that HoYoverse stopped rerunning the event. There used to be this event. I don't know if you guys even remember. It's like you have a bunch of slots, and then you gotta slot like different buffs into it, and then you go into the chamber, and then like you can actually, was it that one? And then you can choose the handicap, like time limit, enemy health, and then like there's a bunch of debuffs you can like select, and then like the more debuff you select, the more points you get. Do you guys remember that? Energy amplifier event. Exactly. What happened to energy amplifier? The current event is like that. Why can't that be permanent? Because it gets boring. You think you want that now, but like Abyss is permanent. Why can't people be happy with that? Oh, is it because it's been around for 2 years? Right? With time, everything becomes stale, mundane, repetitive, boring. It's going to, like, you think this event is fun now because it's temporary. The only reason you want it to be permanent is because it's temporary. Does that make sense? This is the tricky thing about our brains, okay? I can guarantee you right now, HoYoverse knows what's best for us and our, like, entertainment better than we do, because they psychoanalyze us with our game data. The things HoYoverse have access to, you yourself don't even consciously know. Like, if we sat each and every one of you down and asked you specific statistics, you can't even answer it better than HoYoverse. Doesn't that open your eyes a little bit about how this works? Like, on the surface, we can say one thing because, like, that's how we feel and that's how we interpret and that's our reality. But HoYoverse doesn't need all that, like, biasness. They just look at the numbers, they look at the data, and they deliver content that way. They don't analyze, like, our feelings, right? Feelings, it's not accurate. Old events used to be more big brain. Kind of unfortunate I'm still weak back then, which motivated me to grind harder. Yeah, but at the same time, why don't they rerun them anymore? If they were so popular, if it made people play the game so much more, if they made people grind so much more, people spend more money, is there any reason why they don't rerun it? Or is it because it didn't do as well? people didn't play them as much. The bulk of their player base actually didn't finish them or struggled too much, or the feedback for those events were not positive. Right? Because think about it like this. If it did all those things and it made HoYoverse a ton of money, they could have just rerun the events. SJ Malice M says TI for response wars. No problem. Thank you for asking the question. So as I understand what you mean, it seems like an easy thing to fix itself. It seems easy on the surface until you think about this from HoYoverse's perspective. Every piece of permanent content requires people to actively maintain it, right? Or at the very least, they're going to dump it onto the same group of, like, for example, a new piece of combat event now is dumped onto the Spiral Abyss team. Every single rotation, not only now do they have to think about the Spiral Abyss, they also have to think about this new piece of permanent content. So something that comes easy to us in theory is now a permanent burden on HoYoverse's team. And that is something that we players never think of. We just want something, and we want it to be good. We want it to be balanced. We want it to not be pay to win. And at the same time, we want it to reward us, right? Both in the sense of we want to feel rewarded for completing it, and also we want resources for beating it. And at the same time, players almost never think for the company when, like, oh, well, how are they going to benefit from this? Is it all just about us? Is it okay if we're satisfied and the company can just burn? Like, why don't they just give it to us for free, right? Players never think about this. That's why a lot of the times when people complain, I understand when people or content creators act as the voice for the community. They oftentimes don't care what the company thinks or how the company would benefit or how the company will be affected by these changes. Like, oh, we the players want this, but that's just noise. Okay? At the end of the day, that's just noise. I can say what you guys want me to say. I can say things to make you guys feel good, but then I don't feel like I have much value here. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to say things that make you guys feel good. I can sit here and be like, yeah, screw HoYoverse, greedy ass, greasy ass, fucking corporate bullies. True. True. But what is that? That's just venting. That's just you, like, talking through emotions. In fact, if you behave like that, there's a far less chance HoYoverse will ever respond or give you the time of day. Like, because you don't like, if somebody came up to you guys and tried to strike a deal with you, but everything they talk about and offer and propose only benefits them, how would you respond? Do you guys think you want to partake in that deal? And then, or they lead off the conversation by calling you like, you dumbass, why don't you listen, right? Open your ears and listen to me. If they start a conversation with you like that, are you gonna listen? Like, no, like, really. If you want someone to listen, if you want somebody to pay you any attention or treat you as somebody of respect, I'm just saying, right? You yourselves don't even want to take advice from somebody who sound like that. So why would you expect HoYoverse to pay any attention to people who come off like bad-mouthing them, calling them dumbasses and stuff like that? I get it. For the most part, content creators are putting up a persona. They're just playing this game of saying what their audience wants. At the end of the day, they don't actually care. All right? I'm not going to name names, but I'm just telling you guys, they're not dumb. They're not stupid. It's just right now, Genshin is the biggest game. Once another big title comes up, they're gone. They actually don't give a fuck if Genshin lives or dies, as long as they have a game they can cover, that they can pull in their 6-figure salary every year, you know, get their communities support. They don't give a damn about whether Genshin is doing well or not. Okay? So that's how it is. You make money from us. Do I now? Do I now? Where's the money? Please. But then again, thanks to people like Huang Lei, I do have a lot of support. Content are catering to their bubble. Yes, we do. We do. And I'm no exception, right? The only reason I'm sitting here talking about this topic, subject matter, is because it came up. Because people are talking about it. So I'm talking about it. And in fact, we need to start reacting to this video now before your chat starts realizing I'm just stalling for time. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Again. Okay. If you guys want to continue talking about this, we can talk about this a little later. Okay? Sounds fair? Let's first react to this video, because that's what I promised the person who emailed me. And again, if you guys want, please DM me videos you want me to react to. Maybe we'll do it on stream. If 20 people all DM me for a video they want me to react to, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm gonna have to pick and choose. I have to see which one's more interesting. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Okay. Sup everyone. Let me redo that intro. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh. Okay. I'm ready. Whew. Oh. There we go. Let's go.
Yep.
Okay, let's go back. Okay. I'm ready. Testing. Okay, we're live. Sup everyone, welcome back to another video, and of course we're here with the amazing chat. I'm recording a video right now. They're not on screen because they cannot be trusted with this much power, so we have them here on the side. We have not watched this video. None of us have watched this video, and this video is made by Bench Gamer. I'm going to link the video in the description, as well as this guy's channel. So if you enjoyed this video, you can always head over there, watch the original, at least go over there and say hi, because I understand if I'm reacting to the video, it actually takes away from potential viewers. If they come across a video, it's like, oh, I already watched it. So make sure to go over, say hi, and if you can, watch the video to the end, give it a like, helps with the algorithm and helps out Bench Gamer. Okay, the video is titled Genshin Impact is Too Popular, and this was sent to me by one of my viewers via email saying, hey Walrus, you should react to this. He says some pretty interesting things in it. So that's what we're going to do. All right. I'm going to go right into the video right now, and I'll do my best not to pause too much, but I cannot watch a 24-minute video without stopping and then be able to recollect everything by the end. I'm going to have to pause here and there, but stay with me. I hope you guys enjoy this one. All right. Let's just get right into it.
Yo, this is Bench Gamer here. So in the recent interview between GameSpot and MiHoYo basically came out and said that they're not interested in doing any endgame combat related content for Genshin Impact in the future. So besides Spiral Abyss, which is the only piece of endgame combat content we have in Genshin from the very start of its lifespan, I don't think we're going to get anything else in the future. Whatever we have now is what we're going to have for the remainder of Genshin's lifespan. And
okay. Again, I'm sure a lot of people already corrected this, is that it did sound kind of doom and gloom, but HoYoverse, at least for the foreseeable future, have no plans to introduce anything similar to the Spiral Abyss. right? I know people keep saying this. They never said they're not going to introduce any sort of combat-based content. It's just Spiral Abyss-esque combat-based content, right? But, you know, it's hard to implement any meaningful end-game combat-based content without people treating it like the Spiral Abyss. Does that make sense? So, I guess, in a way, he's correct in saying that. And also people who are saying, oh, we're never going to get anything. Because, yeah, if they're going to introduce any combat-based event, what's the difference, right? People are still going to treat it like a chore. It's going to be somewhat difficult, and the casual players, for the most part, are still not going to do it. But if they make it way too easy, then the players who are asking for more combat-like endgame content are going to say, like, oh, that's too easy. It's just like, I don't know. So it's like the Hoyoverse is just kind of stuck in this case, right? So, yeah.
That's being the source of a lot of drama in the Genshin player space recently, but I would actually argue that this affects content creators more, because my general impression of things is that more Genshin content creators, at least relative to the demographics of Genshin's player base, are more focused on the combat side of things. There are a lot of Genshin content creators who just do character guides, who do theory crafting, and who explain mechanics in Genshin in general, at least for combat. But let's be honest, the Spiral Abyss is not that hard right now. I can clear it with a free-to-play Dendro Traveler. I have a C3 Cutting, and I can clear the Spiral Abyss with those two characters as the core of my teams. So Cutting is not like the best character ever. She used to be like a pretty underwhelming character, but with the advent of Dendro in 3.0, a lot of the less powerful characters, especially Electro, got buffed. So I would say that the roster for Genshin Impact is actually pretty balanced right now in terms of their overall power levels. Yeah, there are still better characters than others, but it's not like if you just get one character, you're going to be you've gimped your entire account forever. So if you're not pulling on like the absolute worst characters with absolutely no synergy with each other, then you should theoretically be able to clear Spiral Abyss no problem by the time you get to like around AR 55. Like I've deliberately.
Okay, so here's my question: is it even possible to have a team that can't beat the Spiral Abyss? No, like I'm actually asking this as a genuine question. Is it humanly possible to pull a team, get them all to level 90, fully max them out, grind their artifacts, and you still like and get a player who knows what they're doing, and you can't beat the Spiral Abyss? Again, I'm not saying like, oh, get little Timmy who's like 3 years old to play on low. I'm saying get a competent player who knows exactly what they're doing. Like they know the ins and out of the game. They've done the research, but give them a shitty team who has close to no synergies. I mean, like a super conduct team with a bunch of elemental damage people. I mean, I'd assume every single team can beat the Spiral Abyss, not 36-star, but I believe it's doable. Like, you can still beat it. Like, level 90, talent 10, 10, 10, like 4-star weapon. But who knows? You know, who knows?
Chosen to pull for characters that I think are aesthetically appealing, and that's why I think it took longer for me to clear Spiral Abyss than it probably would have if I actually pulled for characters that were just strong like Raiden Shogun. But at this point, even if you don't pull for the best characters, like there's no need to watch character guides or like theory crafting videos, and you don't even need to understand how ICD works anymore, because Aggravate and the Catalyze reactions are just so, I wouldn't say brain dead, but they're simple enough that you don't really need to understand how they work. Bloom is a bit more complicated, but essentially you just hit something with Dendro and Electro, and then you do big damage. That's essentially how it works. And just by doing that, you can clear the current Spiral Abyss. And I even cleared the big poo-poo log boss, who just goes underground every like 10 seconds with Electro and Dendro. So that boss was the most like frustrating boss that we've had in a pretty long time now. I can't remember the last boss that was this frustrating, but even that I could clear it with just my C3 Kuching. I think she wasn't even C3 at this point. At that point, I think she was only C2, but I was able to clear the Spiral Abyss with Dendro and Electro. So the fact that MiHoYo essentially came out and said this kind of stuff, that they're not going to do more endgame combat content because it makes players anxious, that the Spiral Abyss makes players anxious, even though it's already relatively easy, has...
I would make a much bigger point out of this, but he said relatively easy. So, you know, give him a point off for that. Honestly, the Spiral Abyss is easy. I hesitate to use that word, but it's not hard as long as you have some level of understanding for the game. But for people, again, I want to say this, for people who are not on YouTube, not on Reddit, and again, that's a huge portion of the active player base. Genshin has like 9 million active players per month. And I'm just saying, last time I checked, Ziox was averaging like 500,000-600,000 videos. Last time I checked, Ziox was averaging 500,000 or 600,000 views per one of his guide videos, and I think he's the biggest guide person on the platform. And I would assume a lot of the people who watch that video also cross-references with other guide content creators. So it's around 600,000. So think about that. 600,000 people out of 9 million plus active players are consuming this content. What does that tell you, right? It's just that it's a small portion of the community who's actually looking for this type of stuff. And out of this small portion of the community, even less are actually 36 starring the Abyss. But just beating the Abyss, I'd assume it's not that difficult. And who's to say people who are looking for guide videos are actually trying to beat the Abyss? You can watch a guide video, build the character you like, and just do stuff with it in the overworld or whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be the Spiral Abyss, right? So again, just can't keep telling people the Spiral Abyss is easy, because it really isn't as easy as a lot of the veterans want to make it seem to be.
Very much, I would say, devalue the work of Genshin content creators who focus on combat, right? Because there's no need to watch any of these guides anymore. There's no need to understand ICD or theory crafting, because there's not going to be any harder content or more interesting combat content than the Spiral Abyss. And that's why I think a lot of Genshin content creators and even just players in general have been questioning why MiHoYo said this shit in the first place. And the reason they gave was, of course, that it causes players anxiety, and a lot of people have said that that's bullshit. But there are also like content creators like Braxophone who have said that in their comments, there are a lot of people who say that they don't want more difficult or more combat content for Genshin Impact, that they don't want raids and like co-op combat stuff, more harder content. And some of the comments in my own videos, the few of them that there are, say the same thing. And the surveys that have been done on Reddit, on Twitter, on who does Spiral Abyss and who doesn't, also they say very similar things about the number of players who actually do the Spiral Abyss, which at this point I can.
And I'll add to that, CN also doesn't want more difficult content. Get that, CN, the region who is like the most theory crafting min-max region, in my opinion, right? Like, again, they have more players and they have more population, but I'm just saying they are actually pretty meta if you think about it. But even CN is out here saying like, you know what, we're good with the stuff we have now. And I'll tell you guys why. The main reason is because they don't have enough time. Time is right now a resource that is not abundant for most players who are actually playing the game. And also these players spend a good amount of money on the game. Okay? So I'm just saying right now, it's not that people necessarily don't want more, it's that they just don't have the time to actually complete that content. No, like really. For people who actually want this, like, I get it. You have 3, 4, maybe 5 hours a day to play games, but not everybody has that luxury. Like I keep telling you guys, I have 2 hours, maybe 3 in on a good day to both make YouTube videos and to play games. So it's like, would I want more content? Like a person, I would. I will play it every now and then, but and some would say like it's like 10 minutes a month, right? It's not that much. Well, not necessarily. It really depends on the type of content that is being implemented, right? And I'm just telling you guys, for a piece of content like the Spiral Abyss, if it gets implemented, it's not gonna be well received by the vast majority of the player base. The vast majority.
I can say that it's like not controversial that the vast majority of Genshin players don't do the Spiral Abyss. They don't even touch it. They don't do 36 stars. And that's perfectly fine. But it's clear at this point that Genshin Impact caters to the casual player base, that the amount of the proportion of people who manage to do 36 stars who want that harder content is in the minority. But there is still the question why they had to say it like that. It's like they took a sledgehammer and crushed all our hopes and possibilities for the future of Genshin. And they could have...
It's better that way. Listen, you guys might not think this is right, but I honestly believe it's better that way. HoYoverse needs us to understand. Like they cannot keep letting people hold on to this fantasy. It's just better. Like, it sounds cruel now, but it's actually better. They came out so rough, like just like a like a sledgehammer right over the head. But it just had to be done.
Could have just left it unsaid. It's not like people who have been playing Genshin since the very beginning don't understand that miHoYo is not only just like not putting endgame combat content into the game. They have the actual tools to do it. They have already put in the work to make the bones of more endgame combat content. We have those things in the events already. We have had the Hyakunin Iki, which was like a roguelike. They could have added that into the endgame and gave it scalable content, give it more difficulty levels, and maybe even give us some like rotating characters with kitted out like artifacts to try out so that we want to pull for the characters more. They gave us the D-Look event, which was honestly harder than the Spiral Abyss, and they gave us the tablets event, the potions event, any of these things. Even if you took them wholesale and added them to the end game with just, you know, resets, just like Spiral Abyss, that would have been an improvement on the end.
Again, I know I mentioned this earlier. For people who are not watching stream, I talked about this earlier. Those events are only fun because they were temporary. Imagine that event rotating every 4 weeks. You got to go in and do it every 4 weeks. You're going to get tired of it. You know exactly what to expect. Oh, it's just going to be a different rotation this time. They're going to use different like buffs, debuffs. Going to have to go. Everything else is exactly the same. It's going to become a chore, right? Guys, like, then add more. That's why you have multiple game modes. But at the same, like, then when does it end, right? Like, you're just constantly adding stuff that eventually nobody's going to play. Right? It's just like, yeah, those events were fun. They're some of the highlights, honestly, to my Genshin experience, but it's beautiful in that way that now they're gone and I want them back because I haven't played them for many months. But if I played them every single month, I wouldn't even be playing them anymore. Right now, I'm like, I only play the Spiral Abyss when I want to test certain characters and team comps, or else I don't touch it. I honestly don't touch it. I haven't touched this iteration of the Spiral Abyss. I'll likely do it on the last day, but who knows? Maybe I won't.
Endgame. But they don't do that. They have the potential, they have the knowledge, they have the ability. They just deliberately choose not to. And that's why I think ultimately the reason they gave is probably not bullshit. That's probably what they believe. And some of the things that have happened since Genshin...
Not believe. They know that for a fact. Like, that is statistically a fact to them because they see it. Right? They have that data. So it's not like they believe it. They 100% know. Right? People don't want to play it. whether it's because of anxiety or it's people just think it's a chore. That's really, Hey, Bench is here. Chat.
Impact. I would say, like, if you look at this chart of how popular Genshin Impact is over the last 2 years, I think the general trend of things is that not adding endgame content to the game has not really severely damaged or even damaged Genshin Impact's popularity at all.
Yes.
And there are some really interesting things that you can inference from this, that you can take away from this line chart of how popular Genshin has been for the past 2 years. And I think this also plays a role into why MiHoYo feels like they're comfortable to say this kind of shit now, even though it's been pretty obvious to longtime players for a long time. I think at this point, my theory, my belief right now is that they are actively trying to prune Genshin's player base and trying to prep us for other kinds of content. Or
there it is,
like
the conspiracy.
If you want to believe in the worst, they're trying to get rid of. I think they're trying to get rid of the hardcore players. I think they're trying to get rid of the theory crafters and the combat related Genshin content creators. I don't think that's the image they want to cultivate for Genshin Impact at this point. And the reason why I say this is that if you look at this line chart of Genshin Impact's popularity, oh, by the way, Google Trends, if you don't know, is basically where Genshin Impact, not just Genshin Impact, but where video game content creators come to when they have no content to make for the game. What they do is they put their name into this box right here, and they compare it to a bunch of other games. And if it does well, then they can just, talk about how popular the game is. And if it goes below, they can just bitch about how bad their game is. And whichever way they win, right? Because they get more content. So if you look at this, why is it called a farming game?
Because HoYoVerse is out here milking you guys. That's why it's a farming game. Listen, y'all are the Alright, anyways, let's get back onto track here.
Okay, I just noticed this, but it's called a farming game. Well, that's actually pretty accurate, I guess, because it's not a mobile game anymore. It's on PC and PS5. And I guess online game would also suit, but whatever. So that's pretty accurate, to be honest. So if you look at this line chart, after Genshin Impact's initial release, it obviously went down in terms of its popularity very hard.
That's normal. That's normal.
From 100%, it went down to 33% interest. And then it just hovered around 33 to 45% for about a year until Inazuma came out. And then it spiked all the way up to 67. And then for Raiden Shogun's release, it also got 68. So this was a pretty significant boost in terms of its popularity and its overall longevity. But what you need to understand is, between this point, between the start of Genshin Impact and the release of Inazuma, what I'm guessing is that MiHoYo was a lot less secure in the continued longevity and popularity of Genshin Impact than it is now, right? If you look at the overall trend of Genshin Impact over the past year,
it did go up.
Inazuma's release wasn't even the peak of Genshin's popularity. It was in July. It was in January 2022. So what happened in January 2022? January 2022 was Fleeting Colors in Flight. That was the Lantern Rite Festival. We got Enkanomiya, we got Shenhe, we got Yunjing. This was actually the peak of Genshin's popularity.
Doesn't make sense, right?
Year, rather than the release of Inazuma. So why is this significant? Well, it means that the players for Genshin Impact no longer need a significant new region update for people to get excited about this game. Yes, we got Enkanomiya in 2.4, but it wasn't a new nation, right? It wasn't Sumeru. So what this proves is that Genshin Impact and MiHoYo have more tools in their toolbox now, rather than just, a new Asian update to make people excited for this game. And if you look at the peaks of popularity over here, the next patch, another 66, 63, 55, 60. People are regularly getting excited about this game. People are getting more interested in this game beyond just major region updates now. And this is a severe departure. This is a pretty drastic departure from the first year of Genshin Impact, where, there were region updates as well. We got Dragon Spine, but it was still nowhere near 73 or 66 or...
Okay, listen. This is where HoYoVerse's publicity, we keep memeing, right? How disrespectful it is for them to continuously incentivize and mobilizing their community to make art, to make cosplays, while not giving anything back to them. this is where like all that free publicity they're getting actually benefits them in this way, is that outsiders looking in will see all this like amazing art and like just over the moon kind of community rejoicing about the game, promoting it, and like celebrating it in this fashion of everybody's so nice to each other and there's so much talent going around in the community and we're all like having fun, happy family together. Well, on the surface, that's what it seems like. Deeper down, you get like once you peel back the Genshin layers, you'll find the the greasy, grimy, sweaty ass gamers who are like hella toxic to each other. But that's not how HoYoverse brand themselves. They brand themselves as a casual, friendly, community driven game. Have you guys really ever seen HoYoverse promoting the Genshin tournaments? They endorsed it, like they allowed it, but they've never really once promoted it. You guys know there's a Genshin tournament, right? So, something that actually takes quite a lot of effort for them to like get all the players together, get all the setup right, and then they got casters. But HoYoverse never once shared it on their social media platform. Why? But they share cosplay, they share art, because they're actively trying to promote this casual, friendly environment to attract who? More casuals. Okay? So let's continue watching the video. So it makes sense. This data makes sense.
Or 63, 55, 60. It's pretty clear that in the past year, the average popularity of Genshin Impact has actually increased over the first year of its launch. Ever since Inazuma, this game has been pretty good in retaining its, not just retaining, but increasing its overall like new player base. So I would say that Genshin Impact now is actually possibly more popular than it was when it first launched, after the initial launch for the first year of its lifespan. And that's why MiHoYo is ultimately just more comfortable now saying whatever they want, because they've already won the lottery. If you compare this game to like Arknight's Fate Grand Order, which I don't think is controversial to say that it's like one of the most, if not the most profitable gacha games of all time. If you look at the genre that Genshin Impact is competing with, it's not even a competition. Genshin Impact has already peaked in terms of its potential. It's gained a very loyal following. It's gained a very powerful like persona in how it generates interest.
And no other games that comes after this can really compete with Genshin on the same playing field. Imagine a new gacha game comes out and they go casual. They're like, well, you know what? No PvP ladders. We're gonna go fully casual and we're gonna make these amazing characters, but you can't really use them outside of like a couple combat instances. And for the most part, they just look pretty, and yeah, they're powerful, but you have nowhere to use them. You will never ever be able to compete with Genshin. You know why? Because then why don't they just play Genshin? It has a well-established community, one of, if not the most popular gacha games ever, and then it has a bunch of features already in the game, casual features, and they have multiple regions. They have a well-designed combat system if you're actually into combat. And who knows, maybe the one that comes try to topple Genshin can't even get a combat system as satisfying as Genshin. So basically, Genshin is not only in a league of its own, but it has already basically monopolized a category that they invented. A casual gacha game that costs you an average of like $2,000 to get C6R5 every character or something crazy like that. Like, it's unheard of. They've invented a category, broke all like charts in the history of the genre that they are a part of, which is like the gacha game genre. And they basically already edged out any future competition. It's like, what the hell is this thing? This is an anomaly within anomalies. It just statistically shouldn't be this popular. But at the same time, can you guys see how smart Hoyoverse has been? They realized there was a gap for content, right? The casuals had nowhere to go, nowhere to call home, and instead of competing with other games on their playing field, they literally went, you know what? We're going to make a game where people can only play 30 minutes a day, and they're going to pay us to do it. Absolutely big brain.
And gets more players to play the game. And this increase over the past year, I think, plays a major role in why Genshin Impact is trying to prune its player base now. Why MiHoYo doesn't want the hardcore content creators to ultimately stay in Genshin Impact. They don't want the image of Genshin Impact to be a sweaty, hardcore, combat-oriented game. Because with this increase in player base, right, with this increase in popularity comes more casual players. It's actually a victim of its own popularity at this point. Because there are so many casual players now, MiHoYo does not feel any need to retain this hardcore Genshin Impact player base. They don't want they don't want the first experience of Genshin Impact players to be watching Tenten's video on how Xiangling is actually the most cracked unit of all time, and literally every single polearm is her signature weapon. That's not the image that Genshin Impact wants for for itself, right?
But is it not true?
Now that they've ascertained Genshin Impact's popularity, which I think is more significant than people make it out to be, because if you look at these spikes, they don't seem that out there from what we got for Inazuma, right? But you have to consider the context for this, right? Inazuma was the first major region content for Genshin Impact. Yes, there was Dragonspine, but again, it's not a region, it's not a new nation. Inazuma was the first new nation, and not only that, it was based on Japan, right? And ultimately, Genshin Impact is still based on Weebu otaku culture. So the amount of players
Genshin
Impact who are going to be interested in Inazuma versus like Sumeru is theoretically going to be higher. But even when we look at this graph, like the peak of interest for Genshin Impact during Inazuma's first launch was 67. And then we look at this spike over here. It's 65, right? It's just a shade lower. But do you know what this spike is? It's July 10th to July 16th, right? July 10th to July 16th. That was the second Golden Apple Archipelago. That was not even a major content update. This was just an event. And not only that, there were no new characters, right? We only got what was it? We only got Kazuha and Klee. Oh wait, that was the wrong one. Yeah, this one is the one. 2.8 Simmer Fantasia. We got Kazuha and Klee again, and then Yoimiya as a rerun banner. Actually, these are all rerun banners. And then we got Heizo, who is pretty cool, I guess, but not something that would cause this spike in interest. Or at least I assume. So people are just interested in Genshin Impact for reasons beyond Japanese culture, beyond, you know, I would say the more niche otaku weebu culture now. Genshin Impact is its own thing. Even though it's like very much set within that culture, it does, I think, have its own like lifespan. It does have its own life force, which is weird to say because like you wouldn't think of like an animate franchise, object or a franchise to have its own life force, but that's how I would think of it anyways. It's not tied to major region content updates anymore. And even when you compare like Inazuma's launch 67 to the launch of Sumeru 66, it's barely any different. They have retained their interest for Genshin Impact between Inazuma and Sumeru. The lack of endgame content does not seem to have impacted whatsoever. And I think the launch of Sumeru and its resulting interest for Genshin Impact is even more significant than Inazuma, because there are a lot of things that I had at first assumed Sumeru did wrong. So let's compare 2.0 and 3.0, right? 2.0 was the immovable god and the eternal euthymia. 3.0, the mourn a thousand mornings bring, or whatever it's called. So I did a video comparing these two versions, talking about some of the things that people were complaining about. Some content creators were complaining about like the fact that 3.0 was literally just a 2.0 but worse. So 2.0 had 2 new 5-star characters and 1 new 4-star character. We got Sayu, we got Yoimiya, we got Ayaka. For 3.0, I talked about how some of my disappointment about the banners. Because in 3.0, we only got one new 5-star character and two new 4-star characters. We got Tignari, whereas in 2.0, we got Ayaka. And obviously, Ayaka is going to be the more popular of the duo, because Ayaka was literally the standard, the poster child for Inazuma. She was both in the beta as well as in the Traveler's Travail trailer. Whereas Tignari literally did not exist prior to Sumeru. We never knew that he was a thing. He was not hinted at. He was not in the manga. He was not in the trailers. So as far as we knew about him, he was a non-entity. And that's why it's more surprising to me that Sumeru was this popular, even though it didn't have like a cracked banner that 2.0 had. And then we get to 3.1, which had an interest rating of 68.
Oh, okay, before we continue, I just want to highlight that we only get exposed to the stuff that, I mean, scratch that. We don't really see how much advertisements HoYoverse puts out, right? Believe it or not, like, Genshin Impact still has a huge untapped market, both in CN and outside of CN. And HoYoverse, like, I guarantee you they're spending days and nights trying to figure out how they can get more people to, like, not just play the game, but just know of its existence. Okay, so the Pizza Hut stuff, the KFC stuff, and I know in Southeast Asia they have some other collaborations. Like, it's just a skin on some diners, right? Getting D-Luke to serve chicken wings and stuff. Sure, the fans will go, but also, you know what else it does is it gets people to look at it. Like, bystanders, like, what the hell is that? Like, is that KFC? Right? It's just whatever they can do to get it out there. And, you know, it's not gonna really get on people's radars if you host intense PvP tournaments of people min-maxing Spiral Biz, because guess what? People don't care. But people go to eat food. People have to drink drinks. People sometimes go into the marketplace to buy stuff. So having this exposure in areas where just random people will come across your product in ways that it's not even like involved with the gameplay at all, in a way can drive a lot of interest, like more interest than we are aware of, like, quite honestly. And I think Sumeru's success, yes, for the most part, HoYoverse has done a lot of things similar to Inazuma, but at the same time, as a company, HoYoverse is as much, like, right now, as a marketing company as it is a game developing company. I'm just gonna say it. HoYoverse's marketing is actually pretty good. I mean, listen, you go find me marketing companies who gets their marketing content for free. HoYoverse pretty much does get their marketing for free, okay? That is some, like, Giga Brain 5D chess move that they've done. They've cultivated a community. Not only do they siphon money from, but also get free marketing ads for. It's actually insane.
That was when Raiden Shogun came out. And Raiden Shogun was the most profitable banner of all time at the time that she was the first banner, right? And in 3.1, we have 65 versus 68, just a shade lower as well. But again, you have to consider that in 3.1, we get Nilou and we get Sino. Now, Sino is the poster child of Sumeru, but again, he's not a cracked character, so theoretically, there will be less interest for him than Raiden Shogun. But again, the amount of interest that 3.1 generated versus 2.1 is not that different. So it has retained so much of its interest. And I think I'm doing some, like, hypothesizing now, but I think overall, Sumeru is actually going to have a higher average peak of interest than Inazuma, because it's like Inazuma blew its load too fast. We got two new 5-star characters in the first patch, and then we got Kokomi and Raiden Shogun in the second patch. So that was the Archon and Kokomi, who kind of just got shafted. So one of the things I said in the past about 3.0 was that it might actually be really smart for them not to put all of their eggs in the one basket at one time. The fact that they only give us one new 5-star character might have been a smart thing. Even though I was skeptical at the time, it seems like MiHoYo was more intelligent than I gave them credit for. Because
That's what I have been saying for so damn long. HoYoverse is much smarter than like meets the eye. On the surface, they seem like a company that is incompetent, that are completely unaware of what their community wants, but like we're kind of like a frog in a well. We only see what's around us. We only talk with the frogs around us, but we are unaware of the world that is outside of the well. And HoYoverse is like the person that comes and feeds us from the top of the well, and we are sitting down here calling that person an idiot, and oh, they don't know like what we like, they don't know like this and that and this and what, but they come from a world that is far more like expanded than ours. It's just we don't see the whole picture, and I think HoYoverse, I mean, they don't see the whole picture, but they see certainly more than we do. Really, people, you guys gotta give HoYoverse some more credit. They're actually pretty damn smart. The fact that they've cultivated this community, they got some people pretty much begging on their knees for some new content and living in this hopium dream even after they delivered that message. Just think how strong of a grip HoYoverse has on this community to come out and straight up say, we are not considering any type of content similar to the Spiral Abyss, right? And still have people saying like, well, they said similar to the Spiral Abyss. Just saying. Like, some of these people are like so far gone.
we are not at the peak of Sumeru's popularity right now. We have not gone the Dendro Archon yet. The Dendro Archon is not coming until 3.2. And then in 3.3, there are rumors that a certain villain is going to be a playable character at that point, and he has been hyped up for 2 years.
What the fuck? Are we gonna get to play as our twin? Oh, rip. Well, well, that was a spoiler. Anyways,
Now he is like the Sumeru Signora for girls, essentially. And I can't imagine that he would be generate less interest than 3.1 and 3.0, because let's be honest, not that many people care about Ignari. And yeah, Sino and Nilu are cool, but they haven't been hyped up to the same extent that this character has. And the Dendro Archon as well, she's also going to be popular simply because she's a Dendro Archon. So I would actually bet that the amount of interest that Sumeru generates in the future, in the next 2 patches, are actually going to be, there's a good chance that they will be higher than what we have been getting in Sumeru right now. So it might go up to like 68 or 69. Maybe it'll be even higher than Inazuma. So the fact that Sumeru didn't blow their load all at one time is actually the best thing that MiHoYo has done for Genshin Impact in terms of its overall continued popularity. And I was skeptical at this at first, because my belief was that they had to come out very strong with a new Genshin Impact update so that people retain their interests, so that they go into the new region thinking that this place is cracked, that everybody is like, that we're going to get all this good stuff all at one time. But the fact that they like stringed us along and they increased the overall length of the story quests and separated them into 6 acts rather than just 3 acts that we have traditionally gone for the previous regions. Inazuma, Mondstadt, Liyue, they all had 3 acts. And I don't think it's that neat of an increase in story time, because I think my impression is that the acts individually in Sumo are actually shorter than the acts in Inazuma. But overall, I do think that they have increased the story length. And because of the different structure for the story in Genshin Impact in Sumeru, it doesn't feel as rushed. That was one of
Okay, listen. Sumeru's story is not only of far more importance, like far more importance than Inazuma's. It's, I want to say better paced, but it's really not better paced. Like pacing wise, Inazuma, I think in many ways was a little rushed, whereas Sumeru is a little way too drawn out. Okay? So I'm not saying Sumeru is perfect, but what I'm saying is Sumeru offers us more answers, and Sumeru is, like I said this before, from a storytelling perspective, it's a very important point in the story. We're midway through, something has to be shaken up, something has to happen. We cannot continue on this trajectory. So, yes, Sumeru is interesting in that manner, but at the same time, it's not going to be the end all be all. But yeah, story wise, it's definitely a banger. What can I say? I've been enjoying it quite a bit.
the main complaints I had about Inazuma. And actually, I just started this channel. I started this channel complaining about Inazuma, and most of my problems for the story have been fixed. There are still some problems. Like I complained about the lack of combat in the second act for 3.0. But aside from that, after that, in 3.1, I've been having a really great time. I think the world quests are amazing. The Archon quests in general have also been, in my opinion, higher quality than they were in 2.0 in Inazuma. And I would maybe even say that they're better depending how the story ends in the next patch. Depending on how that ends, I might even say that it's better than Liyue. In terms of overall content, I would actually say it's already better than Liyue because the world quests are better. But yeah, it still remains to be seen. They can drop the ball really hard in the next patch and everybody might just quit. So it's too early to say, but there is a good chance that interest in Genshin Impact might actually increase.
Like, listen, all right, I'll be very blunt. I wholeheartedly believe Hoyoverse can straight up come out and say there is no next patch. Nahida doesn't exist. We're skipping the Dendro Archon. We're actually, you know what? On top of that, we're deleting Zhongli from the game. And we're going on hiatus for the next 6 months. Genshin will still be just as popular when they come back 6 months from now. Like, that's how insane of a game this is. Because honestly, nobody is here sitting like desperately waiting for more content for Genshin. We are spending 30 minutes a day. We can easily take that 30 minutes, put it somewhere else, like, or take a freaking nap or go out for a walk. It's not like we depend on Genshin 3-4 hours a day for meaningful content. Just saying.
Over the next 2 patches compared to Inazuma. So going back to my main point about why Genshin Impact is kind of trying to throw off its hardcore, combat-oriented players now, it's because ultimately MiHoYo feels very comfortable where Genshin Impact is right now, where it's at right now. They don't want the image of Genshin Impact to be its hardcore players. They don't want the image of Genshin Impact to be like these theory crafters talking about meta, about which characters are meta or not, which characters are the most efficient at this or that. They want to separate the appeal and attraction of these characters from their actual gameplay, which is a very unique thing that most people don't understand about MiHoYo. They're not trying to sell you gameplay. They're trying to sell you idols. And I've already talked about this way too much when it comes to that interview that Dawei did over 11 years ago. But I think it's still relevant today. Their main products are not combat. Their main products are not gameplay. Their main products are idols. And for idols to have intrinsic value because they are good at combat is not their purpose. Their purpose is to create emotional attachment to these characters beyond the combat. It's supposed to be about their story. It's supposed to be about their aesthetics, about what they represent in terms of their cultural and symbolic value. So that is where I think MiHoYo wants to take the game. And because of that direction, and because of Genshin Impact's increased and continued popularity, they don't feel insecure anymore about just saying this outright. In fact, what they probably want to do is to not only call the players, but shift the players over to another genre of game or another more hardcore game that they are making in the future. Maybe that'll be Zenless Zone Zero, maybe that'll be Honkai Star Rail. But what I've found is that players are not going to disappear. These content creators are not going to disappear. If Zenless Zone Zero turns out to be super popular, they're going to come back to MiHoYo games. They're not going to quit. They'll still be there. Even if they are pissed off, they're not going to quit the game, right? It's their job. So it's kind of like a win-win situation for MiHoYo. It doesn't matter if people get upset. Even if people get upset, that still generates conversation around Genshin Impact, right? So that's my theory for now. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe in the next 2 patches, interest in Genshin Impact will fall off. Like, it'll just fall off the cliff of the face of the earth, because there's not going to be any endgame content that's being confirmed now. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this whole issue around why they said it. This is BenchGamer signing out. See you guys later.
Okay, so at the end there, I think Bench here tied it together extremely well. Overall, I do think that HoYoverse wants to sell you characters and their appeal, whereas I do think power is relatively important going forward. I can also see a world where people aren't as focused on power, as long as the character offers some sort of how should I put this? Some levels of acceptable combat prowess, right? So I think the Dendro Archon is going to be a good character. Is she going to do a ton of damage? Maybe. I would imagine she would enable more damage as opposed to flat out deal the damage herself. Now, again, that could change with C6. But right now, in the current state of the game, I think players are okay with receiving weaker characters. The majority of players now, I think, actually took the interview quite well. There's definitely that portion who's like, you know, the world is over. Yeah, I'm done with this. But for the vast majority of people, it's like, you know, I guess we came to see the game for what it is, and it just now the developers came out and confirmed it. Going forward, I do expect that player base to stay relatively consistent. Newer players coming in, older players moving out. In fact, I think as the game continued towards the finale of Genshin Impact to slowly build up more players. You guys might not believe me, but I keep saying, there's a huge untapped market, both within CN and also globally for Genshin, that HoYoverse is constantly trying to figure out ways to get people to notice the game's existence and also to try it for themselves. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been EroticWalruss reacting to Bench Gamer. Please go over there and show some love and support to the guy. I think it's a well-made video. I think he had some great points here, but also I think the guy was pretty hopium on most parts. You know, like still holding on some hope here and there, but hey, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, urge y'all to stay safe and peace. Bye. Shukai's asking, will you be able to make it for the summons tomorrow? At 6 a.m. I don't think so, but maybe. Are you available around this, like 22 hours from now? Like 22 hours from now, we can summon for Nilou. Shukai, when is the banner going live? Like, how much longer for the Nilou banner to go live? Oh, look at the comments. Look at the comments. I feel like I'm like a 50,000 viewer streamer. 1 day, 19 hours. 30 more hours for Asia server. Oh, okay, so it's not tomorrow. It's the day after tomorrow. 30 hours. Ooh. $24 hours, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That's gonna be 3 a.m. for me. Should be okay. Should be okay. You know what? I thought you will skip Nilu. I am, but I'm summoning for Shukai. I'll be on Shukai's account summoning for Nilu. So I'm gonna be summoning and then testing her on Shukai's account. Yeah, but I'm skipping for Nilu. I'm skipping Nilu likely until her rerun. Man, I like your pink face. Thank you, thank you. Nilu character demo will drop in few hours. Actually, though, let's react to that. Isn't it gonna drop in 15 minutes? Tech Device says Google Trends don't correlate with banner sales. Sales in Sumeru are less than Inazuma and will be as such due to niche and mid units. I think it also depends on how well Nahida's going to perform. If Nahida ends up being a good unit overall, and then she enables other units to become better, depending on like how much she enables them. Like for example, if Sino goes from right now like a low A tier or maybe high B tier unit straight up to a high A tier because of Nahida, that power that she enables within others is going to suddenly raise the entirety of Sumeru's value. Which, you know, if you want to play Dendro, you better get Nahida. If you don't care about Dendro, which, you know, for the future, like for the next half a year, it's just gonna be Dendro. If you don't care about that, right? Like, so HoYoverse is again playing around here with FOMO to get people excited or to get people really wanting these characters and to play with these reaction. They're heavily incentivizing it. So by saying that, what I'm essentially saying is HoYoverse hasn't even started to really sell Sumeru just yet. Until Nahida is here, Sumeru technically isn't here yet when it comes to, you know, sales. I do think at the end of the day, Sumeru sales and Inazuma sales shouldn't be too far apart. It'll equalize at some point. Why you guys know Nahida is OP? Sus. I think Nahida has to be good to some degree. Like if she ends up being just as mid as Sino, that is tragic. I can't see a world where the Dendro Archon is like just falls flat on her face on arrival, being like, wow, she doesn't work with anybody. She is so niche. She like even like her constellations are all messed up. Like imagine Nahida C2. It's just like when in a team with other Dendro characters, everybody in the team gains 300 flat HP. No fucking way. Still better than Zhao C4, by the way. But no way. She's going to be good. She has to be. She has to be good. Not only does she have to be good, she has to make other characters good as well. Like, she has to be some sort of character. Like, right now, do you know what we really need? We need a Dendro character that can actually apply a good amount of Dendro. Consistent. large area with great uptime. That's what we need. We need a dendro applicator. Somebody who doesn't have to be on field, can apply a bunch of dendro. She has to be that character. Dendro MC. Dendro MC's dendro is so tiny. It's like a little circle. I've fried sunny side eggs with a larger area of surface than the Dendro MC's frickin' application. We need somebody who can apply almost albedo levels of range to Dendro with similar levels of uptime and consistency. That circle is tiny. It is tiny. Mobs, like big mobs, takes one step and they're outside. Come on, it's actually pretty big. It's not enough. Like, imagine fighting the dimension wolves. What are they called? The wolves that can blink out of existence and teleport all over the place. Like, it's not enough. You need a dendro applicator that is the range of like albedo. Or you need one that moves with you like Goro. Yeah, the Rift Hounds. That's gonna be a freaking nightmare. And it needs to be more consistent. Like, ideally, it's in an elemental skill. Nahida's ult is as big as the... Okay, I don't know if that's a leak, but if that's true, that is amazing. Okay, I'm telling you guys think this is a non-issue? I'm telling you guys, this is the biggest issue. Well, not the biggest. It's not the biggest issue, but it's a huge issue. Dendro right now doesn't have a character that can encompass enough area of effect. So we'll have to see. I honestly, actually though, we are about to get the 3.2 teaser. So we got 1 day, 19 hours left. So we are about to get the patch 3.2 trailer in what? A week or 2 weeks? I think it's a week, right? Do we usually get the trailer 1 week before the new patch or 2 weeks before the new patch? I remember it was 2 weeks before. So yeah, we're gonna get the 3.2 live stream next Friday. Right? Hey, listen, chat. Just get your pitchforks ready. Have it on hand. And if Nahida looks subpar, we riot. If she looks good, you just tuck it under the table. Alright? Is that good? Like, just have it in your hand, and she's like, and she has insane dendro application, and also buffs your team's elemental mastery. All that at C0. We're also releasing her with a 4-star free-to-play weapon that is insanely good and easy to refinement 5. Okay, tuck your pitchforks away. If Nahida comes out, it's like, hey, she's terrible at C0. If you want her to have better application, you need to get C1. If you want her to have seamless application, you need C2. If you want her to buff your team, you need C4. She has no free-to-play weapons, and her 5-star weapon is absolutely necessary to play her. Hey, you guys know what to do. I can't believe a world where they do that though. I think she's gonna be great. All right, memes aside, I think she's gonna be great. I think she's gonna make the Dendro reactions a lot more fun. I might end up regretting not pulling Nilu because of how fun she can be with Nilu. But hey, Nilu will come back one day. I know that for a fact. So I'll just get her on her rerun if she really ends up looking fun. Why don't you pull Nilu? You know the meta is no longer matter. Well, the reason I don't want to pull Nilu right now is like I don't want to pull for an incomplete product. Right? Nilu is incomplete. Without Raiden Shogun, Nilu is not a character who's capable of functioning at her full potential. So why would I pay for something that's not even available? Does that make sense? And then you would ask me, then why did you pull for Sino? I like Sino. No, that's it. That's literally that's it. There's nothing more after that. I don't like Nilu as much as I like Sino. It's as simple as that. And I don't want to pull for Nilu for her power because she has no power. I mean, she has some power right now, but she has no power until Nahida really comes out. And I don't need more power. Look at my teams. They're insane. Like I have a Hu Tao team. I have a C3 Raiden. What do I need? I have like Zhangling. I have Kazuha. I have Ito. Like what do I need? What I don't need more power. I have Ganyu. I have Ayaka. I'm set. I have Kokomi as well. Where did Kokomi go? Right? Like I'm just saying. Like if it's power, I don't need more power. So like, why would I pull for Nilu? You know? Yeah, I have Venti. Yeah, why not just go down the list? I have them all. So it's like, well, I don't need her. Especially not her in her sorry ass state right now on release. I can't imagine her doing more damage than Hu Tao. I don't think that's possible, quite frankly. Like Hu Tao one infusion in the Abyss can get close to 1 million damage done per one infusion. Like, you know, it's just at this point, power, no new character really can compete with the old character. So you have to pull for likability and playstyle. And in fact, Sino had a pretty fun playstyle. And I think Sino is going to get better with Nahida as well. So I'm still benefiting from pulling Nahida. Pull for Teapot mascot. I wouldn't even put it past Hoyoverse to eventually put like a Teapot gacha system. Maybe they'll use something other than Primo Gems. Like maybe they'll use a resource you can farm in the Teapot. But like a Teapot gacha with like particle effects, like blueprints that you can get where you can build like amazing structures that have like cool particle effects or something like that. Who knows? That gives like Teapot buffs. Like your Teapot coins regenerate 10% faster. Okay, don't give them ideas. It's the only thing I appreciate ever now. No, but what I'm saying is like it can give you like a lot more. Because think about it, you are essentially going to be funding those amazing Teapot structures with your money. Don't like they'll design amazing. Maybe they'll design like a I don't know, like a dragon that floats around your teapot, like that flies in the sky in your teapot. That's like walking on clouds and something, and it just kind of casually chills in the sky. This giant ass dragon. I don't know. It could be cool. I'm just spitballing out here. Then again, it doesn't sound very Hoyoverse-esque. Imagine a teapot where we can put bosses in there to test things out. You know, I really want a feature in this game to, like a test feature. Like you can spawn whatever monster you want and play with whatever character you want at whatever constellation you want with whatever gear and artifact main and substat that you want. You can actually have a game mode like that. But then again, why would people ever pull for characters? You just come in as a fresh AR. Oh. Oh, wait. Were you guys? Okay. Hey, time for Hu Tao and Zhongli to get some new customers. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look. We can even dig the graves for them right here. That's 4 customers for the Wangshen Funeral Parlor, baby. Always welcome. Always love to do business with you guys. Hey, when times get tough, you gotta go out and make business for yourself. We are entrepreneurs here at the Wangshen Funeral Parlor. We make business out of nothing. The vid is up. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's not up. Maybe it's up on their Twitter. On their Twitter? Twitter? Refresh. It's not up. Somebody link it. Link it. Link it. In YouTube. Nilu demo. Nilu demo. It's here. 1 minute ago. All right. Okay. Gotta record it with the tubes. What the hell is this? Playing Dota 2? Ew. I'm kidding. Again, I'm kidding. Sup everyone, welcome back to another video. We are about to watch a Nilu demo. It got released a minute ago. We actually have chat here. You know what, chat? I think we should celebrate this together. I'm not gonna keep you guys hanging around here, hidden away. I think we deserve to watch this one together. All right, so be on your best behaviors and let's just get right into it. We haven't seen it yet. Nobody has seen it. Nobody in chat here has seen it. Okay, so let's see what it's about.
Miss Nilu, will you teach me the dance you came up with in the desert? Slow down. First, close your eyes and relax your body. Then, picture an oasis bathed in starlight. Now imagine that you are the water, clear and bright, just like jelly. To the world, you're invisible. It never stops to notice you. So you stand up, you leap and twirl, and you show them through dance. Here! A captivating dance is like water about to boil. Quiet whispers grow into a chorus of cheers. To make ripples in your audience's hearts, you have to make a big splash. Dance with the waves! pretty amazing, huh?
Nilu? Do you know where the ribbon for tomorrow's performance went?
Sure do. I was practicing with it in the desert. I'll work something out.
Her demo really reminds me of Eula's demo. Like in many ways, like the combat and her dancing really kind of just gels into one. I'm like, honestly, I am of course captivated. She looks amazing visually. She's a stunning character, and I do think that having that dance combat duality to her kit is going to make her more popular than she originally would have been if had she just been like a combat character that wielded Hydro. Now, even the things that she was saying, right, is quite poetic. Now, that leads me to want to watch this in CN or in JP. I'm gonna see if they are up. I don't think they're up. Please tell me they're up. They are up. Okay. Let's watch it in JP.
砂漠で考えた踊り早く僕に教えてよ。
慌てないで。目を閉じて。落ち着こう。星々に照らされるオアシスを思い浮かべてみて。自分がゼリーのように透き通った水の一部になったところをイメージするの。世界は人を知らんぷりして一瞬も止まってはくれない。でも踊り子は軽快に舞って大勢の注目を浴びる。いくよ。魅力的な踊りは水が沸騰するように小さな驚きが大きな歓声になる。観客を夢中にさせたいなら一番激しい水の花を咲かせなくっちゃ。波の花と共に舞いを。すごいでしょ。
ニロ、明日使うリボンどこ行ったか知らないか。
リボンなら砂漠で練習した時に、なんとかするね。
Okay, I think her voice is a little childish for me for the JP one. Not bad. I think it really captures her fairy-like essence. What about her CN one? Is CN even out? Let's see. No. This one. It is out.
尼禄姐姐，
Alright, let's hear in CN.
你在沙漠里想出来的舞，快教教我吧。别急哦，先闭上眼，平静下来，想想被群星点亮的绿洲吧。幻想你是水的一部分，如同果冻那样晶莹、透明。世界视你若无物，不做片刻停留。身为舞者，便可翩翩而起，引来万众目光。来了呀！ 盛的舞蹈，恰如水之沸腾。从小小的惊诧到盛大的欢呼，若要承载观众的热情，就必须化作那朵最激烈的水花，和浪花共舞吧。嘿，哇，厉害吧？
尼禄，你知道明天演出用的飘带去哪里了吗？
我知道，去沙漠练舞的时候我还用了，我去想想办法。
Okay. Overall, I think, I don't know, EN seems to be like that they're doing a really good job at embodying the characters of inner personalities. I don't know how best to say it. I do think JP, from their many years and their developed anime industry and stuff like that, right? They take this very seriously because a lot of that is not just meant for children. So you can't just get away with being like, oh. So there's a lot more depth to their voice acting for the longest time. But I think CN, EN, multiple regions have now really caught on and are taking this much more seriously. And it shows. It's really well done overall. I mean, CN is good, but I think EN is just as good, honestly. So, yeah, kudos. It always baffles me as well to think, like, just imagine people who are gifted with these visions. They're essentially like walking They're essentially like walking Jinchurikis, if you guys watch Naruto, right? They're like weapons. They could be weapons of mass destruction. Because really no other humans apart from another vision wielder can really stand up to them. Right? Imagine somebody with a pyro vision. How are you going to combat them? So having people like Nilu, who's just honestly like a performer, wielding a powerful vision, and she doesn't have anything to do with the military. She's just out here going about her days, doing performance, and she can pursue her passion. It's wonderful, right? It's beautiful to see she can be so passionate about what she does, and she can incorporate her gift essentially from God to do it better, while also not being forced by the Sumerian militia to join the army. It's a wonderful thing. It's pretty amazing. All right. So anyways, that's pretty much my my reaction. I think all three were amazing. CN definitely have a soft spot for it. JP, I'm gonna have to say, I think it's CN and then EN and then JP. Not that much difference between the three, but I think EN did a great job. Okay, so with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you guys can make it for live streams next time so we can all react to it together. Till next time, urge y'all to stay safe. Peace. Bye. Okay, chat. I think that brings us to the end of the stream. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Saturday, we're going to be doing an account review for a moderator here, Moonlight. And yeah, hope to see you guys all here then. Again, if you guys have any videos you want me to react to, I would love to do so. Just shoot me a DM in Discord, or you can send a formal email letting me know why you want me to react to it, anything to pay attention to throughout. Were we polite? We'll see when I edit the video. So, because I can't really read the comments while watching the video, so we'll see if people were being unreasonable. Remember, if you guys are too difficult, then maybe in the future I just can't show chat. But if you guys are not, maybe during futures I'll have member only chat for like when I have chat on screen. Depends. Maybe you guys did good. I don't know. I always find some weird ones in the comments, and it makes my editing process so difficult. So sometimes I just don't show chat. But yeah. See ya. Thank you guys for tuning in. Till next time, stay safe. Peace.